All right, so we're back with another one. I'm gonna call this Limitless Perspective. I'm K Empress, and this is where we expand our thinking with our consciousness, with ourselves, by ourselves. All right, so now I want to get straight into it. No notes or nothing, straight off the head. Now, okay, so this is gonna be about sun, moon, and rising signs, right? Now, when we put all of these together and actually think about it and actually put them all together, now that we've reached, or now that we've gotten the information from our birth charts, what our sun, moon, and rising is, now we're going to actually put it into everyday life and see how, what our, pretty much what our energy signature is, right? All right, so let's start off with the sun sign. Everybody that asks each other, okay, you know, what's your sign? What's your sign? You know, they're really talking about their sun sign. So now, what is the sun? We can't just break things down by, if we're gonna break things down, we gotta go from, to make it really register and for you guys to understand it, we gotta break it down like little by little. Okay, so let's start with the sun. What's the sun? You go outside when the sun rises, right? You start to see everything. It brings life to things. It brings vitality. It brings energy. It's what you can see. It's the light form with everything, you know? Your actions, your how you're getting out whatever motivates you, right? So the moon is your motivations, your reactions, how you see the world. You know what I'm saying? Your reaction to everything, how you processing things behind closed doors. When the moon is out, it's dark, it's night. You know what I'm saying? It's how you, it's like, okay, when I get away from the world, what's really going on here? You know what I'm saying? So when we're getting deep and breaking down the core of a person, you have to get deep into, you have to start from the moon first of all, because the moon is your core self. If you haven't watched my moon and all the signs, go check that out, because first of all, you need to know your moon. You have to know who is the person inside of you, you know? So when your moon, reactions, your reaction to your environment, what I'm talking about right now and the information I'm giving to you guys, what my mind is really on the inside, my intentions, my reactions, how I'm seeing everything is my moon sign. And I'm gonna just be an open book here. I'm a moon in Gemini. So when I first walk in a room, I'm thinking of the information that's going on, the small details, people that's talking, communicating, what's going on, what they're talking about, everything that's going on. I feel comfortable, moon, comfort, with relating in an intellectual way, right? My emotions, my comfortability is in intellectual matters. You feel me? So, all right. So we're going to break it all the way down. All right. So when you talk to yourself, right? Hopefully you guys talk to yourself. Not in a crazy way, but like if you guys go back and when you guys go back to recharge yourselves, when you guys are by yourself, right? You say self. Why do I act in this way? Now, who is the person asking yourself, yo, why do I act in this way? You know? Who is the person saying, how do I act in this way? The person that's asking who is acting out in that way is your moon, your core you, asking your sun, why am I acting out in that way, right? Depending on your sun and moon sign, your actions might be different than your moon sign. Now, there's people out there that have the same sun and moon. Like, say, for example, if you are say if you're a sun in Virgo and you have a moon in Virgo also, what would that mean? Common sense would tell you that, okay, my sun sign is what I'm consciously aware of, how I act out things. I act it out practical, needing it for it to make sense, seeing the details. How can I make this practical and for people to see it in a very practical way? My moon sign feels the exact same way. I feel like when I first walk into a room, I see the practicality of everything. I need to see the details. What's wrong with this? What's wrong with that? I'm going to act out exactly how I see it. So you're very sure of yourself. This brings a new moon energy. You are very sure your actions are being carried out the same way it's being perceived. The same, I don't want to say perceived. The same way you're reacting is how it's going to act out. So you're very sure of yourself. It's a very like it's a conjunction, so it's very like the energies are just pretty much blended. There's no real issue with it, but you can be kind of stuck in your own ways, you know. So back into it. So yeah, so now we say you ask yourself, what is your, why do I act out in this way? I'm going to use myself for an example. So I'm a sun in Aries, right? My moon's in Gemini. So when I first walk into a room, what am I saying? Okay, I pick up on the details of this and this and this. The first thing I'm thinking, and it's in the third house. My moon is in the third house. We'll get to the houses soon, but I'm picking up on the small details of things, people that's talking, what's really going on here, like how can I relate on an intellectual level? I'm gonna intellectualize my emotions, right? Now I'm gonna act this out in a very fiery way. Aries is a fire sign, cardinal fire. So new ways, I'm thinking about new ways of expressing myself, thinking of new ways of, and it's very like fire is here and then it's gone. Like you just gotta hear it and it's gone. But my motivations is in my moon sign. So what I'm talking about, where it's coming from, is the fact that I want to intellectualize with people and I want to feed you information that I've picked up in an aggressive, it might come off aggressive, but a very assertive way. So you got to start from your moon sign, meaning being your motivation, acting itself out, sun coming to life, vitality, daytime, hello, light form, bringing light to. So what you're going to see is my Aries coming out. But where is it coming from? What's the motivation behind it? That's your moon sign. And now, as we get into this rising, it brings us to the rising. Now, your rising sign is the external world, how people are perceiving it, regardless if you know it or not. How are people perceiving it regardless of how you are trying to act it out in your sun sign? So I'm going to use myself again as an example. I'm a sun in Aries, but my rising sign is a Pisces, completely different energy. So it may come off as, what's Pisces? Ruled by Jupiter and Neptune. It's experience, it's wisdom, it's dreamy, and then Neptune brings dreamy, imaginative. It brings all those kind of cloudy energy, rose-colored glasses energy. So, when we get to how it's coming out, I may or may not be aware of it. I may also perceive that as a Pisces rising, this is how it's coming out to the world regardless throughout it all. So while my Aries, while starting from my moon, while I'm talking about something that interests me as far as information I picked up, knowledge I've gained from people, places, and things that I picked up, Gemini energy, right? Feeding it to you in a sun, and my sun is in Aries, in an Aries way, aggressive, like you gotta know this, you know what I'm saying? And then it's coming off as a dreamy like way, the way that I talk, my mannerisms. I might talk like I don't want to say a mermaid, but like Pisces is like the two fishes upside down, and it's like watery, kind of not really here, but here, very dreamy. Might look like I'm in the clouds in a way, but also depending on if you have certain planets that are on your rising sign, like I got my sun, my Mercury, and Saturn that's also influencing my rising, that might give different energies, right? But for the most part, Pisces rising, it's giving me those dreamlike qualities when you see me, but you're also seeing the fire behind that. You'll see my dreamy qualities, right? My eyes are dreamy, they're big, they're But you're also seeing the fire-like qualities behind it. And if you're listening to what I'm saying, I'm talking in a way where I'm trying to give you knowledge. You know what I'm saying? This is how you can decipher your own. So we can even get into different other examples than myself. Like for example, let me think real quick. Like say if you have let me think. Say if you have like a moon in Libra or something like that, right? And you always want to start from the moon. It's how you know yourself, know your energy signature. If you start with the moon in Libra, right? You start with the moon in Libra. All right. So straight off the bat, what are you thinking about? You're always thinking about relationships, finding new ways to relate to people, trying to build harmony, values, you know. So you first get into a room, that's what you're paying attention to. How can I make new relationships with people? How can I relate to people in a way, see how they see things and relate to them in a way, right? All right, so building relationships, okay? But how is this gonna come out just because you're thinking about that in your moon and your core? How is it being put to light? Sun sign. How are you acting this? How are you acting the moon motivations? In the light, in the sun. So how are you acting this out? You might act it out with a sun in Virgo. Practicalize. Okay, how could I, so say if you have a sun in Virgo, how can I relate to people practically for it to make sense? You know, that's how it's gonna show itself. That's how it's gonna show your motivations. You might be motivated to relate to people, but you're in a way where it's information. It's making it make sense, practical, scheduling, talking to them. You know, okay, trying to make it all make sense and finding and being critical about it. You know what I mean? Like, okay, well, this is wrong because blase squaze, whatever. And then your rising could be like a how can I, you might be like a Leo rising where it's dramatic in how you do it. So that's your personality. That's just how you come off in general. Really open, real dramatic, really like showstopper type of vibe, depending on if you have any other planets, you know what I'm saying, sitting on your rising. But it might come out in a very like flashy way, but it's gonna be like, okay, all right, I'm trying to relate to you, but I'm gonna break it down to you and show you the facts about it. You know, I'm gonna break it down to you, show you the facts about it, and tell you, you know, how it's been practical. And you might have a lot of energy with this because your sun rules Leo, and so the sun is vitality, and so you're gonna come off it's your rising, so it's your outermost layer. So you're gonna come off very dramatic and like, you know, like yeah. I'm gonna show you the facts right now, you know, like people that have like the Virgo sun and then the Leo like externally, like on top of that, they might come off like, yeah, and I'm gonna show you the facts, yeah, and then be talking to you and whatnot. So that's a funny sun, moon, and rising example right there. But whatever your sun, moon, and rising is, you want to first look at your moon, know your motivations, you know, know what it is that makes you relate to others, know the element in it. Your sun sign is gonna, how it's gonna show life, how it's gonna act, how you're gonna act that out, regardless, what you're consciously aware of, what you're conscious, when you're in the groove and acting out what you're doing, that's what your sun, that's how you're acting out your sun. And your rising sign is what's going on regardless. Throughout everything, it's just there. It's your personality. If I were to not act out anything right now, you guys won't see my moon. You guys won't really see my sun unless I start doing something. If I just sit right here right now and just look and just be in my body, your physical body, which is the first house, which is your rising sign, you guys will probably just see, you'll probably just pick up on my Pisces right now, my Pisces energy. You'll just pick up on my wisdom. You'll just pick up on me kind of just looking very watery, very like I don't want to say emotional, but like you guys would just be picking up on like a water element energy, you know? And then when I start acting out what I'm really thinking about, because what I'm really thinking about is my moon is like uh details of things, what people are talking about, information, knowledge, you know, always thinking about what's next is happening. I need to know what the next thing is happening, what's going on. And that's my moon. And then when I act it out, it's going to be in a very fiery way. So when you see me act, you might see me do something assertive, you know, like aggressive, Aries like, right? And now that may be very different from how I might look. So until you have to know yourself to know how these energies might play out, you know? So I just kind of wanted to break that down. Let me know if you guys still have any questions. It's very important to know your sun, moon, and rising so you know how your energy signature is coming off. It's way that you can, you know, help get your point across, or help others see you in the light that you want to be seen in as. And you know, you guys just let me know, and we back with another one. Catch me in the next video.